Well, the event has come and gone. Operation Blackburn 2 was a resounding success, and, well, I just want to kind of give my thoughts on that. But before I do, I will say this. I walked away with some cool stuff. Among them was a cool trade that I wasn't going to turn down, as well as, of course, some good stuff. But I did get a new helmet cover out of the deal. I got a new helmet out of the deal because, yeah, had to be tan. Everything had to be tan. I couldn't exactly go running around my M88, my Peshkit, my Kevlar helmet, basically. The Mitch style helmet, whichever one you want to go with. I am tired as almighty. My legs are sore. My shoulders are sore. Everything is sore. But you know what? It is the nature of the beast. But let me get into this. So, first off, I walked away with, of course, a new vest. Hello, cat. I walked away with, of course, a new vest, which I'm very happy for. What is it, cat? Would you... Can I not? Can I not? Can you not? Can you not right now? Orange cat brain. That's what she's got, orange cat brain. So I need you to get off, cat. Anyway. So, first off, the trade I'm talking about, of course, I'm trying to keep my camera away from the bed because there's something big on it that is kind of emotional, but that's going to be a video in of itself. But I finally got a new Molly vest. This is OG surplus, and I love it. Throwing that to the side. The other one I got, of course, is some Chi-Com. Got me a Type 57, I think? 56? You guys will let me know in the comment section down below. Basically, I've got myself a Chinese PLA vest, or Vietnam, like, NVA type. Basically, a vest I can do for whatever, like, insurgency type setup I want to do, or maybe some post-apocalyptic, and, you know, something very nice, yes. Moving on, though. Ladies and gentlemen, the big thing, though, is that I have a Noveski. So what kind of Noveski, that will be a video in of itself, as well as an emotional message that's going to come with it. But right now I have about well over many hours of footage that I'm going to have to compilate into a massive long play that you guys voted for. So if anyone complains in the comments section saying, hey, why did you make a massive gameplay video of just an airsoft event? Well, you voted for it, so do not complain about it. But speaking of the airsoft event itself, I will say that this was not a mess. Not a mess. It actually was well thought out, well done. The big problem I had, or at least what I saw, was just the lack of communications. There was the commander, of course, and then there was the squad leads, and then, of course, there were the squads. I did my best during the event to try and at least work with my squad, try and make sure everything was good, try and at least get some kind of communication going, try and get some form of cohesion going on. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still won in the end, but it was a mess communication-wise. Now, my only suggestion for it in the future is post like the radio signals for each team at least. Try and get people to be on a frequency, because believe me and Jay Fresh, when we were there, we were trying to get our radios to kind of go on, and we went on the usual wave bands that we usually use. Other guys were like, hey, you're on our channel, and then we were like, okay, let's just continue on with the 700s, and we realized the 700 ain't gonna work anymore. So it's like, okay, we'll change it to the 400s, and then we kept going and going and going until finally we realized, oh, okay, this channel works. Having a coherent channel set would actually work in the future for these big type events, because there was a lot of breakdown in communications I saw, or at least just a lot of people trying to basically get updates from one another. People were just trying to do their best to kind of be like, hey, we need to know what is going on. Can we get an update? And I'm just over here like I'm trying, basically. I'm trying my best to kind of get an update for people, or at least try and get something going on. The one thing I do want to say positive wise was the objectives were definitely set up very well. It definitely felt like a game of, well, I don't want to say conquest, but definitely like old school, I'm trying to remember exactly. There's a game that's not that come to mind, but I'm still tired, of course, and not enough coffee for me to kind of give a coherent on the thing. But it's definitely very nice. I did like it. we definitely would have liked to have known how many points we were winning at the time, because it's like, hey, we're taking these objectives, we hear about points, it's like, hey, can we get something? I don't know if with how much smartphones have advanced to this point, maybe having the I'm not gonna say the Blue Fox tracker or something like that, just kind of something to work with would definitely be nice. Um, Again, just something to work with the future. I know that's way down the line, technology wise, or at least just for Sector 9's sake. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. What I will say though is that the only downside I found, the only con I found during the entire event, was the lack of communication, the breakdown of communication from time to time, or at least just the, hey, what's going on at the front, what's going on with the battlefield situation, hey, what is happening here, there, everywhere. And the only other thing I can think of course, and this is that small Soviet commie part we all have in our brains from watching Enemy at the Gate in a young lives, people were not being as aggressive as they could be. Don't get me wrong, I get it. There are some times where you cannot be pushing on the objective. But when me and a few others were yelling out, push the objective, yes, I know it was muddy. God, do I know it was muddy. Like, my boots are in the garage right now waiting to be cleaned and just everything because of all the mud and stuff. But the green team clearly was more aggressive, and while yes, the tan team was good on holding and being defending, offensively speaking, it wasn't as good as I'd liked it to be. Don't get me wrong, that small communist part of my brain was immediately starting to think like a commissar, where it's like, if you do not advance, I'm going to shoot you for cowardice type deal. But, that was just that small commissar part of my brain. The actual logical part of my brain is, okay, we can't push right now because that's too well defended. And you know what? Congratulations to the green team for defending as much as they did. I will admit, though, there were some moments that definitely could have changed. For those who don't play Sector 9, directly on the opposite side of the field is a long trench, which sadly the owners there have sadly put dogs at the fence line, and basically the trench is off limits. It's out of bounds. I basically was told that some people ignored that and basically kept going into that trench, and at one point in my time, I was actually yelling at the two-story structure, which is known as saloon, that the trench is off limits. I'm yelling over the gunfire and everything, or at least the airsoft firing and everything, trying to get people who are in the trench to realize, hey, do not be in that trench. It's off limits. We don't want to shoot the dogs. We're not the ATF. Please, for the love of God, get out of that trench. But, again, it's one of those things. Another thing that definitely was annoying, to say the least, don't get me wrong, it's thematic. It looks cool. Okay, so there were a couple of guys out there who were running around with lasers. Do not get me wrong, I love lasers and smoke. Point me to a rave that doesn't look cool with lasers and smoke. Like, sound off in the comment section. Like, seriously, point to that doesn't look cool. But in the field and at games, we kept having apparently a problem with some guys who were running Peckbach lasers, and they were actually shining it in people's eyes and things like that. I didn't get that, thankfully, because I was actually smart and realized, hey, if I see a laser, duck and cover, which I think I got a couple of the guys who were running Peckbach lasers, but for most of the day, they were definitely being called out on, saying, hey, turn them off. Don't get me wrong, I get it. Me, yes, I do have a laser pointer from Fiachi, the big honking one. And the only reason you'll ever see me on it is if I'm doing a retro build like SWAT from back in the day, where they had those big honking lasers on, like, the old Car 15s or the long slide 1911s, that sort of thing. That's the only reason you'll see me with a big honking laser on, is I'm doing that to basically, for the LARP, basically. But it was definitely annoying, and that's kind of one of the only things I can think of that was kind of a con, to say the least. So, with that said, overall, what did I think of Operation Blackburn 2? If you're expecting me to give it a rating, you'd be correct. This is technically an unofficial review. I believe that from the planning, from the structuring, from the actual just fun roleplay point of view, because it was green and tan, and we were having just a whole lot of fun, and we were actually having nostalgic feelings. I myself especially having nostalgic feelings of the old Armyman game from back in the day, which, yes, that will be a factor in the video coming up when the massive gameplay video comes out. I promise you guys, it's definitely going to be a factor. But I will say this, though. There was a lot of fun to be had, and there was a lot of fun to be done. And again, from the planning to the structuring, it did work. What did not work, of course, and what kind of broke it down a little bit for some people, was the lack of communication. If there was a radio frequency for most teams to be on, or at least those who had comms be on, so they can communicate with command, and command can communicate with them, and that way, coherent communication structuring, then that would have worked out better and smoothly for everyone involved. I'm not saying it had to be done. I'm not saying they'd have to do that. I'm not saying, they should do that. I'm saying that would have made things a lot smoother for a lot of people. But overall, I will say this. Unofficially, for this unofficial review part, I will give Operation Blackburn 2 a solid 8 out of 10 if I was to officially review it. I don't know what I'd give it, but unofficially I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. For the executions, for the objective gameplay, for just the overall fun I had and the absolute feelings I got out of it, and the fact of, it was a lot of fun. People were doing their best, and they were just being awesome. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. I really would. It doesn't get, obviously, 9 or a 10 out of 10 for me, just simply because of some aspects of it and some elements that could have been better. And that's my key point in there. It can be better. It can be amazing. It can definitely just keep growing from here. And I know Sector 9 well enough that that's their goal. They're going to keep getting better. They're going to keep going. They're going to make this into something amazing. And I cannot wait for that. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, Alex, and do know that the video for the Noveski is going to come out, and it's going to have an emotional message with it. Because how I got this is something I still process even now, a day later from when it happened. Till next time.